So again, head scratchers abound. There's many. Um, I still have about 300. These head scratchers go out to Calvinists and the Reformed and the people that believe in tulip, 5 points, 6 pointers, 7 pointers. So if I keep saying you, I mean, Calvinists and Reformed. Again, I think I've slowed down a little in these videos, and I just really want the truth, and I want a coherent answer. I don't think God, here's my first head scratcher, even though I didn't plan this one. I don't think God made things incoherent. He's not incoherent, I don't think. Yet, the more and more you look at the root of Calvinist and try to see how it fits the Bible, things just get weirder and weirder, at least in my humble, feeble, hey, my unable opinion. So I think you can see the screen. So I guess the real head scratcher is this. As humans, are we able to actually learn in our free choice, which I don't think it's free on Calvinist, but let's just pretend we have some freedom and some choices. Can we actually learn based on God's system? Or is everything we think we're learning just by decree? I might look in the future as a Calvinist, and the reality I live, the common sense that I live, because God gave it to all of us, is I think I can improve, and I think I can read the Bible, learn it, and apply it to my life. But is that really true? Is that really possible with determinism, with complete and total sovereignty, exhaustive divine determinism, meticulous control of all dust particles? Is that possible? Again, you can read the screen, but here's some practical questions related to this very conundrum, which I think is a head scratcher. You know how many times I've sat with a Calvinist who will watch a news reel or something and they'll go, "Oh, I can't believe they said that. They can't talk like that on TV. That's going to give America and children a bad way of thinking." And I said, I let them talk like that, but in the back of my head, I say, my Calvinist friend is going crazy. Doesn't he know that's determined? Doesn't he know that guy couldn't have done otherwise? Doesn't he know that he's reading a teleprompter that was pre-written and recorded in eternity past and then put into the little typist fingers who put it into the teleprompter for the news guy to read? All determined. Couldn't have been otherwise. God wanted stupidity to go out on the air, and it did. Maybe he said sinful and mean things. That's God's doing, at least in my thinking on determinism and Calvinism. So sometimes, why do we tell our children to listen if Calvinism is true, determinism is true? We can tell them, but God's got it all under control. You don't really know if they're going to listen. You don't know if they're really going to learn from their mistake. Maybe God's got them predetermined from birth to not learn half of the stuff you're going to say. Maybe parents should just stop wasting their energy and watch God work. Hey, that's it. Under Calvinism, sit back and watch what God's actually got determined for your kid anyway. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, of course it doesn't make sense. And that's why I say, Calvinists, help me. Total wackiness. Doesn't make any sense to me. So we get difficulties in life. We have consequences. We have consequences based on choices that we think we're really making. And, the secular world's going to take hours to say, oh, see, it was your bad choice. You got to learn from it. Well, can they really? You can say it. It sounds good because in reality, people think that that's what they're doing. But in the Calvinist reality, the Reformed reality, deterministic reality, exhaustive divine deterministic reality is there is no reality, because at the root, you're only going to choose your greatest desire, which God gave you your desires. You're only going to do what's predetermined, decreed, even if it's not your greatest desire, which brings up another head scratcher. It's amazing. You know how many times I watch the TV and all of a sudden Those scantily dressed women come on to a commercial, and I look at it and I quickly say, I shouldn't keep feasting my eyes on that because I do like it, right? And then I sometimes change the channel, but that wasn't my greatest desire. Sometimes I feast my eyes on the stuff, and then I would say that I actually lived out my greatest desire. But wait a second. According to R.C. Sproul, we always do our greatest desire. Well, then why is my head spinning like it's not my greatest desire and I choose for it or against it? How many times I get mad and I almost swear and I go, well, wait, my greatest desire was to use some horrible language, to put this person in their place or something like that. But man, I fight it. I know what my greatest desire was. I almost dropped it, and I have to catch myself. I have to think and reason. I have to learn from past mistakes and apply them. Underneath determinism, none of this stuff makes sense to me, so help me. 6 minutes is too long. Why are parents called to train up a child in the way they should go? If election is true, if predeterminations are true, if the decree is what it is because God decided it to be that way, then what are we training? What are we training up? Are we really teaching spiritual ideas to our children? I don't think so. Not under determinism, sorry. These children are dead in spirit. We can't really train them anyway, especially if the way we think they should go as a Christian, if that's what we think that scripture means. Impossible, because God's got it predetermined. Maybe they're reprobate and they'll never make it over the hump. They'll never listen anyway. They're dead in spirit. So there's no real training. As long as God has not done his irresistible work in the heart, if he hasn't brought the light, he hasn't woke them up, opened their eyes, got the wax out of their ears, if God didn't do all of that, there is no training. Here's some scriptures that, again, fly in the face or don't make sense. We'll stop it right there. One more time, a clear head scratcher. Can we actually learn, if we're Calvinists, if the Bible teaches Calvinism and determinism and that there's a predetermined decree and all that works out meticulously to God's design for his purposes may never match up with what a human is thinking. So what can we actually learn? How can we have a consequence or have a hard time or have an emotional moment or fall away or have a discipline and actually learn from it? We might think we're learning, but are we really? That's my head scratcher. On determinism, to me, doesn't make sense. Help me, Calvinists. I'm open for truth.